Hello, I'm just going to do a little VOD review right here. I've never done one of these before, so hopefully it goes well. Uh, just going to give my quick take on things. Alright. Okay, so interesting start. I kind of like the idea of just running center stage and trying to get in the center and take that stage control, but generally when I want to start the match, I usually have two things I like to do. It's either take stage with shield. Like I'll run to the center of the stage and I'll just shield, and that controls that space. Or sometimes I'll give up the center of the stage and just retreat to the back without shield, so that I can start with punishing and don't lock myself in there. So it's almost like a concession to my opponent, but it kind of keeps my options open. That's usually what I do. This was like a little risky, just like to start off. I think this might have been the second game of this little set that you played, so maybe this was some sort of adaptation you were making. I don't really know for sure, but usually I don't go for anything too aggressive like this at the very start of the match. Usually like to see what my opponent does. So yeah, so you got a little combo. I really like this idea here. You get out, immediately see that they overextended with their combo and are ready to exert that shield pressure and go for the grab. Messed up your combo, but that's alright. Just want to make sure that now you don't try to overcompensate for what you just missed, right? So you missed the combo, so now it's time to reset. So you can see here you kind of kept pushing, which worked out this time, but want to be careful of this in the future, because as you can see, he tried to go for the whiff punish. You noticed that you messed up that combo uh, and was ready for you to overextend and try to go in for the grab, but just happened to miss that time. So want to catch those little things. So you get this cool combo, get hit out of it, that's fine. So yeah, this is just maybe like a little risk reward thing right here. I assume you're trying to call out him jumping at a shield, but that's kind of like a pretty hard commitment. Like Nair, like the jump Nair that you did isn't a particularly hard commitment in itself, but the fact that you decided to jump and go off stage immediately puts you in disadvantage over something that you weren't really sure he was going to do, right? So be careful about that. Probably would have been better to drift the Nair towards center stage. Then you'd kind of keep your control. But here it immediately reverses the situation for something that realistically you didn't know what was going to happen here. So I feel like just looking at this, I'm noticing maybe you might have panicked that you had done that, and so you immediately chose a ledge roll right here. Uh, Pretty immediate. Not necessarily bad. It wasn't punished, and it's not like you've expressed this habit immediately, but it is something that I would have noticed immediately if I were the Bowser Jr. So I want to be careful not to do that over again. So already I'm noticing you're really liking to stay in the air, almost doing like little aerial baits. Even we go back here, a lot of approaching from the air. You jump in aerial, approach from the air, you're in the air, you're in the air, and then you land with an aerial, which isn't necessarily bad, but you did get hit for it, and so now what you want to think is, okay, I was getting punished for being in the air and landing with aerials. I got to get to the ground and play more grounded, right? So here we go again. You finally got to the ground, and now you can start playing grounded, play a little grounded neutral, some footsies, but immediately you just jump in with your aerial, and you get punished again. So watch out for that. That will get you eventually. And you landed in with him from the air again. So just be very careful. That happened like maybe 3 times. The last 3 interactions was you approaching him from the air with some sort of hitbox and him just shielding it and hitting you, right? So It's okay. It happens to everyone. We all kind of get into that zone where we try to just hit our opponent with some aerial because the game kind of encourages that at some level. But that's clearly he's clearly figured out the counterplay, just to sit there and shield. So just be careful. The adaptation I would like to see is a little more grounded play, a little more shield pressure, because you already know he's going to shield that. So maybe a tomahawk or something that me brawler specifically is really good at because of the gravity they have. So this is doing much better. Now you aren't always approaching them. Now the Bowser Jr. is coming to you, right? And you're ready. You're on the ground. You're prepared. See, now you're in the advantageous state, right? You want to be below your opponent, not the other way around. So now you're able to juggle them, shark them. Here again, they're approaching from the air, and now you're ready. Now you're in shield below them. That's kind of the position you'd like to be in, right? So this is all really good from you. Get hit with that, but that's fine. It's a mix-up that pretty much everyone gets hit by. Fortunately, it was at a low percent, so it wasn't for a kill. So just don't get hit by it again. So yeah, here just be careful about landing with these aerials, right? It's actually pretty good from you, brawler, because Nair's like pretty active, so it can kind of cover you, but it will get punished. So I would have probably in this scenario retreated further to ledge, right? Instead of trying to contest Bowser Jr. up air like that, because then you'll just get hit. And once again, this is a pretty common thing, right? The basic risk reward of trying to take back center stage from the side platform. Let's see if I can go back a bit. Just seems like you're very eager to get back to center stage, and he's prepared for that. He knows you want to run off that platform, so he's ready with that. Unfortunate SD, but that's all right. A little desperate for the kill, I'd say. It's, in my opinion, really important in these scenarios not to go for big reads like that. I know that you had invincibility and you're trying to do something with it, but right here your invincibility's run out. So really, when you're behind and you're playing from behind, there's an idea or like a thought that you have to like make up for it and you have to start making big plays. But I find it's actually more the opposite, where the tighter you play and the more you're consistently winning your interactions, that's what really helps you make comebacks. Um, so this, when you whiff that up smash, that kind of tells your opponent, just like mentally, that they're very much in the lead, right? That they can just wait for you to do your panic options and then start punishing. You want them to be afraid. You want to seem impenetrable, right? See, once again, that's kind of one of those more desperate options. I know that you might be thinking like, oh, I'm 3 stocks or 3 stocks to 1 down, kind of giving up this game. For me, I never really try to have that mentality. Sometimes it's smart, right, to kind of give up on a game, and the fact that you don't want to waste mix-ups that you have when you could save them for a game where it will be more likely to be useful. Uh, but in this case, it's probably better to just play it safe instead of like these desperate moves, because you can always make a comeback. But you just got to play really tight all the time, and stuff like this just shows desperation to your opponent, and then they'll capitalize like that. All right, so I guess takeaways from that game is I'd like to see a lot more grabbing in neutral, a lot more tomahawks. I feel like the vast majority of the neutral wins that the Bowser Jr. got was from just sitting in shield and waiting for you to unsafely hit it, and that was basically it. And then at the end, you did some more unsafe stuff, just waiting for it. Uh, don't want to do that, but what helps me in those sort of scenarios is just playing really grounded. I find playing grounded kind of helps me keep myself in a safer position, keeps my mind on more whiff punishing and smarter aggression, if that makes sense. Staying in the air kind of makes me run into my opponent a lot with stuff that isn't safe, drifting in. Uh, Usually want to be drifting away or crossing up or something like that, and that's just way easier to do from a grounded position. Uh, and then you can also capitalize when your opponent jumps, and then you're immediately in advantage. So those are key takeaways, I think, from this one. And let's see how you do in the next game after this. I don't know if these are actually in order, but I will assume they are. But if not, you can ignore the adaptation part of my commentary. So once again, he immediately shows he's just going to be on the ground and wait for you to be above him and just hit you. You want to, when that sort of stuff happens, you immediately want to think, okay, he's challenging me vertically, so I want to challenge him more horizontally, right? That's just like the basic adaptation that happens in my mind when stuff like that happens. And once again, it's all you're above him, right? Which I know, like as me brawler, it's good to get the like the nair into grab or whatever combos, but it does help at least to exert some grounded pressure to get them into that shielding scared position, so that sort of aggression is more useful. So you finally get that nair starter, which I assume is what you were looking for at the start of the game. So that's all good. Started from a more grounded position right now. He's drifting into you, and then you wait for a commitment, and then you go in, which is all good. I do like your ledge trapping idea here. I like the non-commitment, keeping stage control. I always like to do that especially in the beginning of games before I have a lot of data. Um, so here you're ready for a roll or something. He just goes straight past ledge. You weren't quite ready to punish it, but that's all right. Now you have the data. So yeah, be careful with this. In a scenario like this, landing in the middle of the stage is certainly a mix-up. Having to work here, you land with an aerial, barely misses the up smash. I feel like in this scenario, I'd just say you got lucky here. This very easily could have hit you. The idea was in the right place. So just be aware that next time this won't work again, or you shouldn't expect it to work again, even if it does. The ledge is usually the safest spot to go when you're getting juggled like that. Of course, you do have that flip kick thing, so it is a decent mix-up, but you just want to be really safe. You know, don't push your luck. So that was excellent pressure. So you got the whiff punish here, did the back throw. You can tell they're scared. You do a little, what is basically like a little dash dance there, which exerts a ton of pressure, which is fantastic. And just the confidence that they're just going to sit there and shield, right? So I want to see stuff like that happen way more, because you do, with your jumping and your sort of aerial pressure that you exert, you recognize that he wants to sit there and shield and wait for something to punish. But I mean, you didn't even have to do anything like crazy here, right? Like you knew he was going to shield. You knew he was afraid. So stuff like that's fantastic. So that's unfortunate. You had the reaction. You just slightly off on the execution. It happens. That's unfortunate that that happened. This is just kind of like a lot of back and forth, a lot of just running in. You get over them, which is fine. But yeah, that's why it's always so scary to approach from the air like that. It's just so telegraphed, right? When you start an aerial so high up, you can pause it in the right spot. So you double jump, like that's a full hop and then like a double jump. You're way up here. He has so much time to react to literally whatever you do in with punish, right? Uh, so it's like a no-brainer here, right? That eventually he's just going to go to try to hit you. So once you commit like that high up with like a full hop and a double jump, uh, unless you have like a really privileged aerial, right? And even still, it's most characters can with punish basically anything in this game. You want to be drifting away, right? You have so much space over here that you could just go back to. That's pretty safe. But instead you drifted into him and just get F smashed. So that's just something to think about. Because it always happens. I don't even know if like the double jump was a misinput or something. That happens to me all the time, especially as Falco. My double jump is so massive that when you realize that you've committed that hard with all your resources in the air, you want to get out of there, right? And he's not in like center stage, so you have some space to work with. So yeah, once again, uh, his game plan seems pretty solid. He's just trying to whiff punish your aerials, right? In this case, he just dashed back and got it. So, I mean, it always happens. Everyone gets whiff punished at some point, right? It's a call out, but not a particularly risky one. So you just want to immediately, when that happens to you, it's like, okay, I just got to be like really, really careful not to approach while he still has stage to dash back on, right? Because you know that's what he's looking for. He gets a really good combo. That's fine. You approach it. You escape to the platform, so this was fantastic. You have that flip kick that allows you to travel so much space, and you instantly steal stage control, which was fantastic. You bait him over to the platform, to the side platform, and you just jump right over him. And now you have center stage. You get to that burst option, which is fortunate in the combo, but you don't die. All right, let's trap moment. Let's see what happens. So he does the up B again, which is perfectly punishable, and you're already on the reaction. You're good. Let's take a look at this one more time. So you're at ledge. You choose immediate jump and fade back because you saw that he had already committed to covering something, which wasn't fantastic on his end because that gives you a lot of time to recover back to stage. So now you have stage control again. Okay, so that was interesting. So you have stage control right now. And so it seems like you're just giving him a ton of space. I'm not quite sure what the idea here was. Possibly you're trying to bait out his clown car side B, because he has expressed that he wants to do that in the future. So maybe you're looking for that. He's not budging, so you try to go in with a command grab. So this is something that I fall prey to a lot when I play characters with command grabs. But it's just a pretty general rule that you're not going to land a command grab on someone unless you have severely conditioned it. So in this case, there's no chance, not a chance at all, he's going to stay right there and shield. Everyone jumps or spot dodges or rolls in a scenario like that because you haven't exerted enough pressure to make them want to shield, right? You're too far away. You exert shield pressure by being in like a burst range into them or being like right next to them in the air. From that distance, you're not going to condition shield, so that side B isn't going to work. Not the end of the world, but just something to think about. command grabs are much better once you condition shield or as like a whiff punish sort of deal. Not usually as an aggressive approach tool like that. So this is just something to think about, is that you use the side B here. You do a couple nairs, and then like the next move you do is like another side B. Command grabs are scary when you forget that they exist, right? So just like in general, when you have like big moves like that, or that are clearly mix-ups, not something like your nair, you know, basic conditioning tools like that. You want to, once you have revealed to your opponent that it exists and you're willing to use it, you want to usually wait a while to do it again. It's always like, it's really common for you to whiff an option or strong option you want to land because you got some sort of read on them, and then it whiffs, and then you just want to get the same read like immediately after. Not a good thing to fall prey to. Typically you want to do like the exact opposite, which kind of is like, it kind of hurts because like you had some sort of read and you are pretty sure you can land this, and then you whiff because of whatever reason, then it's like, oh, I can't use this option for a bit. But that's kind of how you have to think about it. Like there's like an internal cooldown, right? Kind of like when moves stale, right? You want to think of it, once you use a move and whiff it, that move is like now staled for like the next like 30 seconds or whatever, for the next few interactions. So ledge moment, I would like to see now a little more commitment at towards the ledge, if that makes sense. The past couple times you have kept quite a bit of space, which is normally pretty good because it's the safest way to maintain stage control. But at this point, he's realized that it's safe to be in that zone, right next to ledge. So I'd like to see someone like me Brawler just sitting at shield, like around this area right here, and baiting out some sort of aggressive option or like a neutral getup, and just going for like nair out of shield, right, to send them off. And that's exactly where he ended up. So if you had just stayed there and shield, you probably would have air dodged and you would have gotten some sort of hit, or at least you would have exerted pressure to make him go back to ledge. But this pretty much tells them like, yeah, it's safe for me to just like land on stage, which you never want people to feel. And then you don't even really exert much pressure, right? Like you have to understand when he's on ledge like this. If he's off stage is already a scary position to be in. This air dodge like onto stage just shows extreme fear, right? He's very afraid of whatever, getting ledge trapped, edge guarded, being in the corner, whatever. He's afraid and he doesn't want to get on ledge, so he air dodges onto stage. Or maybe it's because he's quite confident that it won't get punished. But either way, after he does that, he realizes, oh crap, I've just done this laggy option onto stage. I have to shield. And now he's shielding. He's so afraid. I'd like to see some sort of pressure, right? You could probably just go in and grab this. He's probably not going to jump or anything, but if he does, you could call out a jump. Be safe about it still. You can just like do like a rising back air or something to catch a jump and then like dash back. Something to make him afraid of being where he is, because he should be afraid of because of what he just did. But instead, you just give up space and he gets to unshield. And he's like, okay, I get to play some neutral again. But you don't want them to feel that way when they're in the corner. So this is something that I don't want to be too hard on because the idea is good here. But typically, when my opponent is in corner like this, I never jump into them like this. Because you really don't need to. They're in the corner. They're the ones that have to come into you at some point, right? Or they're going to have to stay there. So here I'd like to see some sort of ambiguous pressure, some movement, maybe some dash dancing to get them to jump into you, right? Because they don't want to roll in when you're like occupying this space in front of them. They could sit there and shield, but eventually you're gonna like, well, eventually their shield's gonna run out, and they have to choose something. So really, you never have to jump into them when your opponent's at the corner. That's the privilege you have by ledge trapping, and that the privilege they don't have by not having space behind them, right? Is that they eventually have to come into you. Uh, so this, you try to jump away, but he's already ready to punish you. So just really think when you're ledge trapping, like make them come to you, right? You never feel like you have to go to them when they're in the corner, because you don't have to. When you do it, it should be like a read to make them very afraid. Okay, so off this ledge here, you immediately use your double jump, which is fine. It's a mix-up. You have a lot of space to work with to juke them out into going one direction or the other. But he just calls you out. You try to go straight to center stage, which is the most obvious choice. Like a good mix-up is to double jump and occupy the space here and then drift back, right? And then you can get a little bit. You know, usually when your opponent is ledge trapping you, you have to take what you can get. You know, inch your way forward. Big takes and stage control back usually are able to be punished pretty hard. And that's exactly what happens here. But that's okay, you know, because you didn't die. You nearly avoid the back air. Get back. And then you do the same thing pretty much, where you immediately use your double jump off ledge, which is a scary mix-up to use. You should feel quite scared when you do this, because you could very easily die. You lose a lot of options here. You can't go back to ledge because you lose your invincibility. You are off stage without your double jump, so you pretty much can only land about right here. And he recognizes that. The only thing you can do is what you did, is you put out an air to try to cover yourself, but he just was ready with the whiff punish and the dash attack. So you should feel quite afraid right here. You have no resources. He has caught you twice for jumping from ledge, and this is the problem part here, is that you decide to go right back into him, which is incredibly, what's the word, unsafe. He's caught you 3 times for trying to go over the ledge, and then you go for a 3rd time, which gets punished once again. And for a 4th time, you actually go past ledge, which I would not advise. It just so happens, maybe you reacted, that he had overextended down here. But he very easily could have landed back on stage and punished you very hard for that. So I don't know if it's like nerves on your part. It's pretty common to feel when you are off stage or getting ledge trapped that you don't want to go back to ledge, because it's scary, right? Because then they get to ledge trap you and you might die, especially at a really high percent, like 150%. But the truth of the matter is that going to ledge is the safest option you can do most of the time when you're off stage. Pretty much anything else, going above stage or bypassing pretty much that ledge trapping scenario, is a mix-up, right? And it's a hard mix-up. So doing it like 4 times in a row, definitely want to watch out for that. Pretty much never want to do that. You could get punished very hard. So I did really like that this time. Yeah, I caught again, kind of, for going above stage. He was ready for it. He just put out a Mecha Koopa there. So you finally realize, okay, I should just go to ledge. And what I really like here is that you didn't panic and you actually used your full invincibility. You waited and you got up safely. That was unfortunate that got that turnaround. Oh, and he fell out, so that was fortunate. That was really good. And he got caught by that, which is fine. It's a mix-up that catches literally everyone, so just got to be careful. If I were you here, I would be sitting here shielding as me brawler, because he has not expressed he's willing to roll behind you, right? He just expressed he's willing to jump, but you can catch that with like a rising air out of shield or something, or a rising up air on reaction. Uh, you want to bait him to roll eventually. Even if he rolls past your shield, that's great because the next time it happens, you can punish it so hard. But right now, he feels very safe in like this zone right here, right at the ledge. He doesn't have to feel like afraid, which is why he's able to have the confidence to go for something like up B in his little hammer thing. So just sitting there with shield just controls a lot of space. It limits you because you can't cover roll particularly easily, but because he hasn't really shown that he's willing to do that, that's probably where I'd like to be, just to exert that pressure at the very least. So once again, you go here. You'll put yourself off stage and use your double jump, uh, which is pretty scary. Let's see if it's in reaction to something maybe. So you jump off stage. I assume you jump back in there in an attempt to punish this dash attack that you saw. But he very easily could have shielded right here. He ended up going for the jab, so it works out. But he could have shielded. He could have dashed back and punished this. So you just got to be careful. That double jump off stage, like drift on into stage, is very, very unsafe. It's very easy to be punished. And so then the problem here is you do it again, right? You get off stage and use your double jump and jump, and he catches it. He's ready because he knows that you like to be in this area up here. You like to jump over, jump in. It's way harder. It's basically like impossible at like a Mecha Koopa or something for Bowser Jr. to cover like going low to stage. He's just not a character that like has like that much what's the word? Aerial strength to be able to just like cover that area without extreme risk to themselves. So going low is just safer in most scenarios in this case. Do you recognize that here? Once again, you go for the jump. But this was a little more of a mix-up, but hopefully you're starting to see a pattern here that you like to do that a lot, and it's definitely something that I would catch on to, and you probably should have caught on to here. But you get over. I like this that you didn't drift into him after. You did try to just get back to stage and reset neutral, so that's good. So kind of unfortunate for Bowser Jr. there. Almost got this really cool Mecha Koopa combo into the backer, but then ends up air dodging past ledge and dying. So worked out for you in the end, but definitely some things that could have been cleaned up. You're behind like basically the whole game until that happened, so definitely still stuff to improve there. I think the takeaway from that game is definitely be more careful at ledge and with your ledge options. Lots of jumping, lots of using your double jump unsafely in ways that get you really hard punished and limit your options in ways that allows them to extend and just get a lot of damage or even kill you. So want to be careful with that for sure. So next one. Alright, so let's take a look at what's going on here again. So kind of similar to what I said in the first game, is that you want to be really careful when the game starts, because it's very easy to just run into something. I don't usually like to commit that hard right after the go screen, because when your like visibility is obscured, and like Bowser Jr. is a character that can control that space immediately with no risk to himself because he has that Mecha Koopa. So I would be a little safer. Probably just drop down without a double jump, shield, or like I said before, just like drop platform and just occupy this area below the platform, and just wait to see what he does. Otherwise, you'll get hit by something like this. That was all really good. So he's just showing that he's committing with things like jab. You get that cool down throw up B combo. Love to see it. I do really like this, actually. So he has invincibility, so you're just trying to escape the invincibility, so you do your double jump and then air dodge through. I wish you did this more just in general. It feels like you never really do like this jump over air dodge thing, and it's always like jump over aerial when they don't have invincibility. But this is actually like really good, because it actually just gets you to the ground and lets you to reset neutral. So the past two interactions you've gotten, or maybe even more, I haven't been paying too much attention, but it's this landing in down tilt, right? It's clear that's what you're going for. Surprising it worked again. A better player probably wouldn't fall for it again. Just shield it down tilt and probably punish it. I assume down tilt's more punishable. But yeah, so be careful. Doing the same thing twice. Yeah, sometimes it works, but definitely be careful about doing that. So here, you go for this down throw up B. I don't usually like to give people like character specific advice because I don't main your characters, but in this scenario, I'm not sure why you'd go for the up B, and I don't think it could be like a misinput or something. I doubt it would kill. I mean, maybe like a down throw up B would kill at like 50% with that up B, but probably not Bowser Jr. Bowser Jr. is quite heavy, so you'd only end up really staling it, and he gets you with the DI mix up anyway. So I'd probably do something safer like an up air or something where you can just like. I also don't know if this is online where it's harder to read DI or react to DI. So maybe you're just committing, but even in that case, if you can't react to DI, I wouldn't commit to something so committal like up B. Probably just something like a nair or up air or something like that. Or at least forward air. If you read that they're going to DI out like that, or I guess it's further away. Probably go for forward air, and then you don't stale your kill move anyway. Because I don't think forward air ever kills from your brawler. I do also want to note that just in general, you're very comfortable with this shot put off stage to cover yourself. You haven't really gotten punished for it, but there's no reason, especially here. I think you use your double jump to use that move. Yeah, you double jump shot put. Shot put sends at an angle that, I mean, he was ready, which you probably should have been since you do this quite a bit, to just like jump there and hit you, right? Because it just like goes in like an arc. You can just go right under it and hit you. So be careful about that. You haven't gotten punished for it yet, but it does cover the ledge, which is nice if they don't go out and get you, but they could totally just like edge guard you there. So something to think about. That was a great wait. Clearly you're just looking for something there. So you get your good punish. So here is what I'd like. So your movement here is great. You're spacing your back air. He's afraid. He doesn't want to come in. You're controlling all this space. He doesn't want to roll in or anything. He doesn't want to jump over because you're controlling that. But instead, you decide to jump in a nair, which you didn't have to do at all. So after that spot dodge, you totally could have just running and grabbed him. I think he's so afraid. You're exerting so much corner pressure to him. He's spot dodging in the corner. You could go in and grab that. Or if you didn't want to grab that, you could just run up to him and then nair backwards, right? And that keeps your stage control and keeps you safe, but still covers a jump or something like that if that's what you expect it to do. When instead, you run back and jump into him, which like I said before, you don't ever have to do that if you are ledge trapping someone, because they don't have the space, right? Like he can just sit there and chill, and that's basically all he can do. So this is basically the only thing he gets to punish. So don't do that. Do like anything else, like run up to him, near back, heck, do a space backer or fake a space backer and grab him. Lots of options you can do here. Jump in there is exactly what he wants you to do. So he overcommits and you get that, so that's nice. This is a great ledge trap sequence here. You're just catching him jumping in or running in a lot. He's running into you, you catch him. Is there pressure? He wants to run again, you catch him. This time he jumps into you and you're ready and you react and you just up smash. So that's perfect. So there it is again. You're off stage, you double jump, shot put, and he hits you this time. Fortunately, it was just the weak hit, but could have died for that. So, gotta be careful. And you do the same thing here again that we brought up before. You jump from ledge and then double jump. I assume this is some sort of bait. Like you jump backwards in hopes that he will dash in, and then you jump and then like nair him and then start a combo. It's very risky though, especially because it's from ledge and you can't go back to ledge because you don't get invincibility. And he does not fall for it. He's just standing there. He's like, you can do whatever you want to do. He could have just gone up there and hit you, but he's clearly doesn't want to mess with it. But it's it can be unsafe. See, that's the sort of pressure that I'd like to see you exert, right? You've just done an option that bypasses the ledge. So now you're in this spot here. You're afraid. The only thing you're going to do is shield, right? I need you to recognize that your opponent is thinking the exact same thing when they're in that scenario. See, grabbing at the ledge is very, very potent. Need to see that more in your ledge trapping. That was pretty good. Again, you do this jump in nair, and it doesn't hit because it's just at a range that it wouldn't hit. But fortunately, you stuck in the Mecha Koopa animation. You're able to get the kill confirm. But just be careful. You didn't need to do this nair at all. You could have just jumped in and gotten that. I assume you're trying to cover him jumping in, which is why you have the nair. But you don't need to jump into him to cover that, right? You can cover him jumping in by not doing that. But it worked out. And you get the kill. So I think you said like the set, he won the first game. And that wasn't recorded, and he won the first one that we watched, and he won the last two, so this must be game 5. Yeah, let's take a look. So yeah, how'd this start off again? So yeah, once again, you like jump in, and like last game, you used your double jump like immediately. Very aggressive. I mean, it's just a personal preference for me, but especially a character against Bowser Jr. would not be so aggressive right after the ghost screen. Already, this is like a very different game from the others, I feel. Almost like mashy from both of you. The side B wasn't conditioned, so we just got to be careful about using that. Side B can be like very potent in like the midst of exerting pressure. But this is almost just like chaos that's going on. It's like just kind of hoping. I think this might have been a side B right here. If, yeah, it looks like that was maybe supposed to be a side B, which isn't actually the worst because it looked like you're maybe threatening the back air. But he just happened to press a button instead and you got hit. So yeah, I think that might have been what happened, is that you tried to use a move and it didn't work, even though you think it should have, right? Because you got a pretty good like setup there with like the back air conditioning, so you're just gonna get the side B, and so it's on the forefront of your mind that you want to land a side B, and then so you end up doing this bad one. So you just got to be really disciplined about that, right? When you have like that, one of those like good moves you want to hit, and you, for whatever reason, you fail to land one, just put it in the back pocket for a while, right? Otherwise, it ends up like, oh, I just gotta land it, or I really want to land it. I think I could land it. I'm gonna go for landing it. It doesn't work, right? So it should be right in the moment, and chances are, if the moment has passed, it will not come that soon. So just something to think about. So once again, you're ledge trapping. He's drifting into you, just fine. Somehow gets that landing hit, um, which is unexpected. Probably thought you could punish it, but that's okay. So now you're here. Now you want to keep your stage control, right? That should always be the main focus when you're ledge trapping. Or not the main focus. The main focus is to hit them, but like a secondary purpose at least is to maintain your stage control, because that's what allows you to exert a lot of pressure to your opponent. But here, you miss it with a grab and then immediately um, forward air towards the ledge. Allows them to immediately steal stage control. Now it's like completely reversal. So just try to be like really really disciplined about when you are at ledge and you're drifting. Try to drift either to like maintain your position or like to maintain stage, right? Like drifting back towards center stage, and that will usually keep your opponent from doing stuff like that. That was a pretty good read. I don't think you had done that. You didn't really use the full time of your invincibility, which would have been nice. Uh, but I mean, you just kind of gotta read on there, and you didn't die, so it works out. That was a nice little conversion there. So once again, be very careful when you decide to bypass ledge, right? You think, oh, I don't want to go to ledge. The ledge is scary. But ledge is the safest spot you can go in this scenario. What ends up happening is you bypass ledge, you end up on stage with lag, and now you're afraid. Obviously, you're going to shield, right? And then he grabs you. That's why you want to go to stage or go to ledge like 80% of the time, maybe even more. You could play it even safer. I go to stage or go to ledge a lot. Going over someone or onto stage is only like as a huge mix-up or a read, right? Like if they are not covering that at all, then you can go for it. But in general, it's very risky. So that what you just did kind of shows some fear. You recently grabbed you. You also punished a neutral get up with a down smash recently. So you like neutral get up. You wait a little longer this time, but you're in this scenario and you're afraid, so you spot dodge, and then you like immediately do an aerial. That tells me, if I'm Bowser Jr., that you're quite afraid at ledge right now. And you ended up reading like a jump. It didn't work out, but be careful about the sort of options you show to your opponent, because it will definitely reveal your state of mind, right? That shows me you're afraid, and I'm just going to wait for you to do something. I'm not going to commit to a jump there. I would have waited for that nair, and I would have punished it. Yeah, nice grab on a whiff punish, which is good. Overextend a little bit at ledge, but that's fine. Happens to everyone. That was great. You went over. You went way over. That's so fast, like he can't catch that. Now you just reset neutral. This is perfect. Go for the dash attack with punish, which is good. So yeah, so once again, I like where this is going. So this is a great spot to be right now, where you are right now, because he is coming back to stage and he has to decide if he's going to go to ledge or if he's going to go over. So pretty much what you being this far back does is it's baiting him to jump onto stage, and it works. He jumps onto stage, uses double jump, but you have committed to like this nair that will not hit him because he will be in time. He will be there in time to shield. You don't get punished for it, but this is so close to being fantastic, right? You bait this jump onto stage. I want you to just run in and grab him because you know he's going to land and he's going to land afraid, and he has not exhibited that he will immediately roll or do anything like that from this position. He's either, well, he's going to shield. That's what's going to happen, and you totally could have gotten some sort of grab punish on here and make him very afraid. But instead you go for this preemptive nair from a distance that just isn't going to hit him because it takes too much time for the hitbox to actually get to him, and he gets to shield it. And fortunately, you space it in a way that it crosses up, but he was ready for it, and he panic up smashes. That's pretty good. Once again, I would like to see some sort of grab mix up here. You happen to read that he was going to jump, but you just in this space right now, um, and he just feels very comfortable shielding, and you never really want your opponent to feel comfortable shielding. But you get the good call out there, so can't fault that at all. There's a good conversion. That was fantastic. Just looking at this sequence, you had a really good combo. You wait for the air dodge and you're ready on reaction to punish it. That I'm still not a huge fan of the drift in there like that. That pretty much only covers if they're going to jump into you, which most people, well, I won't say most people, a lot of people do it, but lots of good players aren't going to jump from the corner into you like that. They take their time, and he's actually taking his time now, and he thought he could shield grab it, but your nair is pretty good, so he doesn't get to. And now you get to dash back, and which is what you should be doing at ledge, right? You're in like a ledge trapping scenario pretty much because he's cornered and you're not. So you have all the space to dash back and wait for what he does and punish it. So that's fantastic. Does the DI in mix up again? What happened here? So he jumps over. Um, I guess you weren't ready for it. You kind of got caught in a skid or something, so that's fine. So that was an interesting choice to go for the back throw. I guess to go into some platform tech option. So yeah, once again, this is like the third time in a row I think that Bowser Jr. is recovering high onto stage. Also doesn't want to go to ledge. You don't have to commit that hard to punish that. He is already up here. He has to come down, right? But you just like use your double jump. You've expended everything for a chance to hit him up there. He could have air dodged that anyway. You just put yourself like above your opponent for no reason. This guy has to land. And you can react to whether he comes down like an aerial. And you can like whiff punish it, or if he doesn't do an aerial, he's probably really scared. Probably just going to shield and you could just grab it. But instead, you get reversaled on as you go up there and try to go for the kill. I don't know if that would have killed, but maybe you're antsy for the kill. But you don't need to do that, right? You don't need to extend so far when your opponent is here. This is like Christmas right now. When you see your opponent in this position, it's like, oh, perfect. I'm going to stay right here. I'm going to cover the platform. I'm going to cover right here. But yeah, but you get reversaled. You also don't go to ledge, and he punishes you for that. So this is pretty good right now. Just some good old neutral. He's covering jumps. You're waiting. Catch his jump, which is good. He goes over. You're ready for the mix-up that time. You don't get fooled twice, 3 times. You get the near out of shield, that's perfect. Get hit by that. And it doesn't last as long as you'd think, so I usually just throw it away, because usually it's not useful until after their invincibility's gone. That was a good grab. So that was just good on their part. A lot of pressure up there. So you air dodge, just happens to catch you. So he seems kind of antsy to hit you. You see he's like drifting in. He's realizing you're trying to whiff punish him, so then he goes for like a spot dodge when you realize he's kind of overcommitted. You're just kind of standing there, a little, just kind of intimidating him. So you kind of got to realize that, yeah, you can just kind of run over him in a way. But you got to grab. When people are afraid, they shield. This scenario, he's afraid. He's afraid you're going to like jump, do an aerial or something like that. I want to see you like jump back and then just like empty, like turn around and grab him. Great weight at ledge. You get over and you get to punish him. So once again, right here, you do an aerial, reading some sort of jump, I assume. Doesn't work. He does the same thing. Right here, I just want to see you grab him, right? That's people do the same thing twice, right? When it works. So he shielded that. He did his own thing. You can just turn around and grab him right here if you want. Okay, so something to look out for here. It's a last stock, almost last hit scenario. This is, I consider like almost like a desperate option, assuming this was on purpose. It barely touches him, but if I were him, I'd be like, oh, they're desperate. I'm just going to wait for something to be done that's super punishable and then get the kill, right? So maybe it wasn't a misinput, but I wouldn't pull a mix-up like that again, right? Because it's very risky and you could die. Especially now that you've revealed your hand. Sometimes mix-ups like that can be very good in last stock, last hit scenarios. But now that you've revealed that that could happen, they're like, okay, I gotta be careful. Okay, so that's scary. So once again, your opponent's at corner. You jump in with an aerial that isn't hitting them, right? No reason to do that. If they're in the corner, you just want to take this space without a move, right? Without lag. You want to just occupy this space with shield or with your dash, something like that. Something that makes them scared to come in or like jump in or drift in or roll in, dash in. You just want to control this space. But instead, you immediately give up this space. Right now, they could jump over you or hit you. That was a pretty good disengage though when you realize like, oh crap, I need to get back to center stage. You just go back. So that was a good recovery. But now they recognize that you're kind of off your tempo, and they know that you want to exert pressure, so they just do a burst option, and they get this combo that almost kills you. That was a really good disengage. I really liked that. Because you know he wants to kill really bad. He wants you to jump or drift in off that platform so he can get the back air and kill you. But instead, you just retreat, you bait it out, and now you're back on stage and you have some stage to work with now. So that was fantastic. And enough to bait out the clown car. Um, I'm not sure why you're going for like this falling up air in general. Actually, it seems like it's really hard to hit. It might like kill confirm or something. Maybe like up B or something is what you're going for. Uh, but I don't know. In my opinion, it seems like something like Nair would just be like way better. Like an Nair would have hit here and could have gone maybe into a grab or sent him off stage. Oh, and that's the kill. So that's good. And I assume that's the last game. Yeah. So um, key takeaways here, I guess, from this set. It was a good job. You won. Uh, but also be very careful in disadvantaged state. Be very wary of when you use your double jump. Go to ledge more, is what I'd say. I also don't know how serious this set was. I assume because you're asking for a VOD review, it's like at least semi-serious. I don't know if it was online or offline or anything like that. But yeah, if you're playing to win, you want to play it safe usually, and that means going to ledge, taking your time, uh, make your opponent respect options. I want to see a lot more grab. I'd like to see a lot more control of the close ledge space, I guess, with like shield. Because me Brawler is actually quite good at controlling that space because Nair out of shield is so potent. Um, Not that controlling like the roll distance is a bad. It's actually very good, and I highly encourage you to continue doing that the way you do because it does allow you to keep stage control and exert pressure that way. But at some point, once your opponent becomes comfortable in that space, you gotta contest it. So yeah, do that more when you're ledge trapping. Uh, More grabbing, like I said, just in neutral once you've conditioned it, because you're quite good at conditioning shield. I just need you to pull the trigger and actually grab them. Uh, and then yeah, that's mostly those are the big things I noticed. And if I were playing you, are the things I'd pick up on and try to exploit. You know, at ledge, wait for you to jump onto stage and then punish you. Um, or if I'm at ledge, just take my time and shield a lot because I know that shield isn't going to get punished very hard. So those were the big things. And then there's like little things about your use of side B. You know, be careful not to get caught in a rut of I used it once, I want to land it again, stuff like that. Also in general, with your whiff punishing, because I did notice that when you weren't playing aggressive, you were like trying to do a little more whiff punishing. Uh, I'd use a lot more dash attack. U-Brawler dash attack is like broken in that sense, and it's like huge and covers a lot of space. So lots of times instead of, especially at ledge, when you're in some sort of like ledge trapping scenario, maybe I can find an example like here, or maybe like right before there. So yeah, instead of like jumping in like that with an aerial, you can just dash back because like I said, you can just wait for them to do something, and then whatever they do, basically anything that they do out of that corner, you can like dash back, dash attack them. It's very, very strong. Uh, It'll beat out like a lot of aerials. It's like a burst option. It's really fast. So like immediately after whatever they do, you can just do it and wait. Do an instant dash attack. Um, I think that would greatly improve your grounded game, if that makes sense. I feel like there's just a lot of aerial stuff going on, and the Bowser Jr. just capitalized on it really, really hard, especially in the first games, with just shielding and up smashing out of shield, grabbing, whatever. So you definitely want a good mix of aerial and grounded game. Uh, and I tend to prefer or think that uh, an emphasis on grounded game is probably the strongest, right? Because that's typically the safest in terms of like whiff punishing and stuff. And I typically enjoy whiff punishing or prefer whiff punishing in general, but aerials are usually a bit better for or air game. It's more important for aggressive play. But can't be obvious or you got to mix it up. So that's basically all I have for you. Hope this helps. I think it ran quite long, so apologize for that. But hopefully you got something out of it. So thanks and see you around.